The legal matters have now been dismissed of the Auburn wide receiver after being cleared by Auburn's Title IX to participate in team activities. The sophomore wide receiver has now been cleared of all wrongdoing in his legal matters after his case was dismissed on Monday afternoon. He applied for youthful offender status last Friday at his hearing with Judge Samantha Copeland reviewing the case over the weekend. Yesterday, the case was officially dismissed and will no longer be pursued. Simmons, if you remember, he was arrested in Lee County on charges of domestic assault with strangulation or suffocation. He has been practicing with Auburn since preseason camp opened on July 30th. As head coach Hugh Freeze said, Simmons was cleared based on the information that I've been given from our campus administration who have knowledge of the matter, end of quote. And yesterday, legally speaking, it was put to bed.
Yeah, we speculated when he was out on the practice field and he was able to fully participate, not doing little side punishment things, wondered, all right, well, we don't know the details. We're never going to know all the details of this case, but given the allegations and the circumstances, Auburn allowing him to go out there and fully participate, not saying that they knew all the facts of the case, but they had definitely, in my opinion, talked to folks that were in the know, and they felt good about their decision to go ahead and let him hit the practice field.
Well, one thing's for sure. I mean, once Auburn cleared him from an Auburn Title IX standpoint and he was on the field, you felt that Auburn felt really good about allowing him access, to the practices. So, with that being said, Malcolm Simmons, as far as we know, the situation is finished. It's done, and he's a member of the football team and full steam ahead.
Well, and how it relates to this football team for Hugh Freeze in 2025, it was not going to be a deal breaker, in my opinion, but to have Malcolm Simmons out there, another threat, another guy that the defenses have to worry about, and then you add him to Singleton, you add him to Cam Coleman. I want to see, and I think Auburn fans want to see Hugh Freeze this offense at full potential, at max capacity. So looks like we're going to see that at least for game one in Waco.
So Auburn is off. They are not practicing today, so they will be back at it tomorrow. We heard from offensive coaches yesterday from Auburn, and we'll hear a little bit what Derek Nix and obviously Kent Austin have to say about the Auburn offense a little bit later in the show. The other news of the day, no big surprise. We kind of hinted about this yesterday on Three-Man Front. I was told yesterday morning that Ty Simpson had been communicated that he was going to be the starting quarterback, and all of a sudden the national media started jumping on this as a huge story yesterday afternoon that Ty Simpson was the starting quarterback. Like, I'm not being ugly here, but this was not a quarterback competition. Does that make sense? This was not Jalen Hurts going up against Tagovailoa. Okay, let's just call it the way it is. And so I was told yesterday morning that it was communicated to Ty that he had won the job as QB1. And then it was just kind of laughable how the media nationally started breaking news. Ty Simpson is named the starting quarterback at Alabama. Sources tell us. And I'm like, oh, okay.
Well, they know that it's going to get clicks because Alabama is one of those programs that people are going to gravitate to now that we get closer to the college football season. And I can think of other cases where you knew who the Ohio State starter was going to be, but Ryan Day wanted to make it official, and then you get one of those headlines. But good news for Ty Simpson. Not saying that he hasn't earned it. This is not a, hey, you've been loyal, we're going to give you the job. He's the best quarterback in their eyes, and Ryan Grubb's eyes, and Kalen DeBoer, and I think a lot of Alabama fans' eyes, just based on the inexperience behind him. But for Ty Simpson, now that it is official, you go out there and you take command of this team. Make it yours.
He will become the first Alabama quarterback in 21 years to make his first career start on the road, a true road game. For $1 million, can you tell me who the last Alabama quarterback was?
I will. Is it during my lifetime?
Yes. It was 21 years ago.
It was 21 years ago.
21 years ago.
The
last Alabama quarterback to start his first career game. I'll even give you another hint.
Was it?
They played at
Brody
Arkansas.
Croyle?
They played at Arkansas.
It was not Brody Croyle.
It was not Brody Croyle.
Was it John Parker Wilson?
It was not John Parker Wilson.
It was not Tyler Watts.
It was not Tyler Watts.
Andrew Zhao.
It was not Andrew Zhao.
Brian Bergdorf.
It was not Brian Bergdorf.
Danny Woodson.
It was not Danny Woodson.
Gilmer.
No.
Who was it?
Don't tell me it was like Joe Namath or something.
No, it was 21 years ago is what he's telling you.
Oh, it was 21 years ago.
Yeah, 21 years ago. Alabama lost the game 27-10. You want me to I'm going to give you his stats.
And it wasn't Brody Croyle?
It was not Brody Kroll.
Was it Brandon?
Nope.
Nope.
Alabama lost the game 27-10. The quarterback that I'm trying to get you guys to tell me who it is, he went 6 of 18 for 57 yards, no touchdowns, and 1 interception. Alabama lost the game 27-10 at Arkansas. You're not going to get it. I'm just telling you.
Okay.
I mean, I was doing a daily talk show, and I had to do a double take when I saw his name. Mark Gillen.
Well, that's a fun trivia question.
Yep. You can win. You can win a lot of bar bets on that one.
That might be one of Rodney's trivia questions this football season.
This kid, he was a California native.
G-Mac was trying to help me out, too. Thank you, G-Mac.
California native. He was a top 50 prospect in the 2002 class. He spent the first 2 seasons at Miami. He did not start. He transferred to Bama. He replaced Brody Kroll after an injury early in the 2004 season. Gillen lasted 2 games as the starter before giving way to Spencer Pennington. And then Gillen eventually left the Tide in 2006.
God, I forgot about Spencer Pennington.
Yeah. So there you go. So just remember that the next time you're at a bar and you want to get a free drink. Because I guarantee you nobody's going to know that answer.
Like a lot of Alabama
Gillen.
fans, I conveniently forget the Shula era, and it just all starts with it's like it's Ray Perkins, Gene Stallings, and then a little bit of DeBose.
I think a lot
the
of
Shula
Alabama
era, just forget about it, and then it all started with Saban.
Yeah, sure did. All right, joining us now on the Higginbotham Hotline, it's our good friend Mike Griffith from DogNation.com, also covers the Southeastern Conference for the AJC. Mike, we were just talking about how Ty Simpson is going to become the first Alabama quarterback in 21 years to make his first career start on the road. The last one to do it was Mark Gillen. How about that, against Arkansas in 2004? Did you know that answer?
I didn't. I'm trying to think, though. Nick Saban, typically, he really didn't play a whole lot of road games, especially to open the season, did he? So there were some neutral site games.
Correct. Yep.
Yeah, he didn't want this home. Yeah, that didn't have, his scheduling was a little different. But, that's interesting. But speaking of Shula, I mean, he's in the SEC right now coaching.
That's right. South Carolina OC. Alabama fans are going to get to see him right there in person in Columbia.
North Sellers, quarterback coach. So that was a pretty good game last year, as I recall. Better than I expected, frankly.
That was the game,
Too close.
Mike. That was the game going into the fourth quarter. Ryan Williams had been targeted 4 times.
Well, he was only 17 years old last year.
Well, that's true. That's true. That's true.
Oh, but he grew up in that Georgia game there.
You got child labor
Mike.
laws. I think that's what you're referencing there.
Good Lord. Everybody in the stadium knew the ball was going to him, and Georgia couldn't stop him. That was amazing. That's got to be that's Kalen DeBoer's signature win to this point.
I think it goes without saying, Mike. Yes.
But
no question.
I'm still trying to figure out how they didn't beat Tennessee or Vanderbilt or Oklahoma. I mean, it's just so bizarre. So bizarre because the team I saw in the first half looked like world beaters. I think we're all still trying to figure that out, aren't we?
Yeah, I think a lot of people are. What can you tell us between the hedges? What's happening? The first scrimmage took place over the weekend. What kind of intel can you share with us?
Well, I mean, it's just kind of the same million-dollar question. I mean, everything looks great. The quarterback play, Gunnar didn't make mistakes, but they had trouble getting the ball in the end zone. But how much of that's the defense? I mean, Kirby was doing some things on defense. I mean, they got playmakers. They got great guys on defense. But, how good can the quarterback be if he needs to be? Can anybody press Georgia, score enough points on him to put Gunnar under pressure to be a playmaker? To me, I mean, I think he'll take care of the ball. I think he'll make good decisions. The other guy, Ryan Puglisi, he made some really good throws, got a lot of arm talent. May ultimately be the more talented guy, but right now Gunner's the more seasoned guy with all of one start. So this is where Georgia's at. I mean, it's all about the quarterback ultimately to see how far they can go.
Where would the strength be? either from just the front line or the depth, position group-wise, be on the offensive side of the ball this season, Mike?
Strength of the – well, I mean, their tight ends room's pretty good. I mean, there's no Brock Bowers, but they're pretty deep there. They got a couple playmakers there, and, they really like their receivers. They really like Branch, Zachariah Branch, the transfer from USC. Apparently he's lightning in a bottle, a lot of quicks, a lot of explosivity there. I think that would be – I think the offensive line is going to be adequate. I don't know that it's going to be dominating, but I think they're pretty solid there. And the running backs had a couple guys emerge in the scrimmage. That redshirt freshman Chauncey Bowens, 225-pounder, and Nate Frazier's back. Rod Robinson's a guy they thought they were going to have going into last year, 240-pound guy that had a turf toe, and apparently he's back in form. So, there's some optimism that the running back room, will be healthy and deeper. Last year they only had one scholarship running back healthy for a large part of the year. Etienne was injured. When he was healthy, they beat Texas twice, but missed a couple other key games. So, I don't know that I think they're just pretty good on offense, but I think defense is going to be the calling card.
Yeah, I was reading some articles at Dog Nation over the weekend after the scrimmage, and some of your reporters were talking about how that the depth of the defense and that the interior could be one of those special units that we've become accustomed to Georgia having each and every year. You agree with that assessment, like you just said, that the defensive side will probably be a little bit more stronger than the offense?
Yeah, I do. I don't, you guys know the danger of trying to compare a program to its great years, though. I don't think 21 and 22 Georgia D-line's coming out the tunnel. There's no Jordan Davis or Jalen Carter, and maybe not even a Nolan Smith, but this Christian Miller guy is pretty good. I think he's legit. I think he'll be a playmaker. And then the freshman, Elijah Griffin, you don't typically hear of a freshman that can make an impact on the D-line, but this guy's pretty special. And then they got a linebacker that's kind of emerging, put a little weight on him. I think he'll play off the edge named Chris Cole. So there'll be some new names and faces and guys maybe, you hadn't heard about. Nobody made first team all SEC, I guess. So they got something to prove. They lost 13 guys to the NFL, and Carson took his Lamborghini to Miami. So they got a lot of bodies to replace.
Mike Griffith, who covers the SEC, DogNation.com, and also the AJC, joins us here on Three Man Front on the Higginbotham Hotline. AP rankings come out yesterday, Mike. Not asking you to reveal your vote, but as far as the SEC teams in the top 10, any surprises, and would you reshuffle any?
No, not really. I think it's pretty solid. That's the can you believe that's the 8th straight year that Georgia's been ranked in the top 5?
That's incredible.
There's only one other program in the country that can say that. That's Ohio State, and Georgia and Alabama. Georgia. Golly, Freudian slip. They used to say Alabama. Georgia and Ohio State are the only two programs that have been in the top 10 in the last 10 years or so. So, well, let's see. Georgia was 2017, going back to 2017 every year. Ohio State, I think, going back to 2015 every year. So those are the only two programs to be top 10 teams every year that long. So I don't know if I'd call it a dynasty, but in the midst of that, Georgia was the only program to go undefeated in the SEC 3 straight years in history. They're only SEC program to win back-to-back national titles. You start talking about doing things like that Nick Saban never done. That's pretty impressive.
Mike, speaking about the top 25, it was very quiet up in the Rust Belt yesterday when the AP preseason top 25 came out, because with the SEC for the first time ever, any conference having double-digit teams in the top 25, that was the Southeastern Conference. Meanwhile, the Big Ten did not have that kind of showing. What happened to all those people crowing about no depth in the SEC and the Big Ten is the best conference in the world? Where are all those people yesterday? Because most of the people nationally, the 65 voters, didn't feel like the Big Ten was deserving of more than 6 teams in the top 25.
Well, neither did the coaches in the coaches poll, right? So your mind went the same place mine did. This is why the SEC's not going to 9 games, and this is why it's ridiculous that the Big Ten's trying to dictate that. The Big Ten, kind of has the floor. They've won the last 2 national titles, and they want to seize the moment. And so at their press days, they're going to, like you said, do all this talking. And now that perception comes out and everybody votes and kind of, puts down their evaluations of how good the programs are, you see the SEC's depth that we've talked about. And like you said, it's fallen silent. But, that's not their agenda. They had their moment to talk, and, there was enough foolish people in the national media on some of these national networks that don't really follow college football that, grab the low-hanging fruit and probably ought to just stick to pro sports because they don't really understand college ball. But I guess if they got a big enough mouth and microphone, they can say what they want. But you're right. They're nowhere to be found. But, we'll see how it ends up at the end of the year. There's a different selection committee now, and hopefully we'll get some, rankings that are more reflective of how good teams are. We won't have to see teams like SMU and Indiana in the playoff while, Alabama, South Carolina, and Ole Miss are sitting on the sidelines. They'd probably be, double-digit favorites if they played either one of those teams. Last year was sheer lunacy. You guys are just trying to get me pissed off today thinking about that again. I mean, 4th-place team in the Big Ten hosting a playoff game. I mean, I'm not sure. Jim Harbaugh 2 years ago, they're cheating. And last year, Big Ten, Michigan athletic director in charge of this committee. I mean, these guys, what a bunch of clowns. I grew up in that state. They call it the Blue Wall. That Michigan it seems like University of Michigan football, just their attitude and ego is out of control.
Oh, I love it. I love hearing the Michigan dirt from him.
I love getting Mike pissed off.
Yeah, Mike, I did want to ask you about John Gruden. Tells Kirby Smart and Georgia that he would die to coach in the SEC. What do you think the likelihood is that we see John Gruden running a program in the Southeastern Conference, if not there, a Power 4 football program?
Well, I don't know about likelihood, but I know that Tennessee's talked about wanting him a few times, 2 or 3 times over. And, I know he's got some, NFL things to clean up, and I think he had some kind of win in court recently that, could get him back into coaching. I think Tennessee would probably be the most likely place if it were going to happen. We'll see what happens to Tennessee this year. I mean, this is a big year for Josh Heupel, I think. I know he made the playoffs last year, but, there's a lot of questions about Tennessee this year, and I think those people are pretty anxious, to win big. I know they beat Alabama 2 out of the last 3 years. I know they beat Florida 2 out of the last 3 years, but they haven't gotten back to the SEC championship game since 2007. And there's a lot of money, a lot of power brokers up there. And if Tennessee were to have a bad season, which is quite possible, I mean, we'll see. They got a good defense, but with Nico moving on and the way that was mishandled, you have a bad season and all of a sudden drums start beating. So to me, I think Gruden would, if he were to go, he'd want to go somewhere he could win right away. I mean, I think right now, for now, Billy Napier's safe. They got a brutal schedule, but what if something happens to Billy Napier? Then who's next up there? You guys keep bringing up Brian Kelly. Maybe you know something about Saban. I don't, but I don't know who you'd replace Kelly with, and I don't necessarily think LSU's going to falter. So I don't know. Gruden wouldn't go anywhere he couldn't win. Those are a few of the candidates, I would think.
That is Mike Griffith, joins us each and every week here on the Higginbotham Hotline. Mike, always great to catch up with you. We will talk to you again next Tuesday, as it will be game week for some teams around college football. So we look forward to it. Thanks, Mike.
Exciting times. Thank you, guys.
Appreciate it very much. That's Mike Griffith joining us on the Higginbotham Hotline. All of our guests join us on that Higginbotham Hotline. You deserve solutions that are built for you. Higginbotham is your one-source solution for insurance, financial, and HR services.
We continue. Pelham Gator is here.
He's got his
Officer
own
Walt's
caricature
here.
now.
Yeah, we got security, and he's got I wanted to have one of these done when we went on vacation. Dorothy wouldn't let me do it.
Look at that.
Oh, it looks great. Who's got his ear pierced in this one?
Yeah.
All right, we are live from Social Taco here in Homewood. It's a Taco Tuesday. Doors opening officially 40 minutes from right now, but you can come and join us upstairs in the Taco Terrace, socialtaco.bar for more information. More college football news to get into. Your reaction to Ty Simpson officially being named the starter. Malcolm Simmons cleared at Auburn. We continue here on Jocks.
It's 10:24. Welcome back. This is Three-Man Front on Jocks. Pat Landrum. Molly will be out here in just a little bit. Conrad Van Order back in studio. A little bit of basketball news to pass on. This just announced a few moments ago by Auburn. In a rematch of the 2025 Final Four, the Auburn men's basketball team is going to face Houston in the Battleground 2K25 at Legacy Arena in downtown Birmingham on Sunday, November the 16th. The Tigers defeated the Cougars 74-69 last season in Houston. So beyond the marquee matchup between these two elite programs, the weekend will also feature a full slate of community-centered events, including the Battleground 2K25 press conference and Fan Fest on Saturday, November 15th in downtown Birmingham. So that is going to be a big-time matchup. Once again, Auburn and Houston, Legacy Arena, BJCC, Sunday, November 16th, a whole weekend of activities that weekend. So that is a big-time announcement for those two schools.
Yeah, and I'm seeing where Houston is ranked number one.
And some, yep.
Some of the way too early top 25s, Auburn should be squarely, I believe, I'm trying to see in this one, Houston is number one, but Auburn should be in the top at least, I would think top 10, but top 15, maybe not. You never know. They are not in this particular one. Wow. They don't have them in the top 25?
Interesting.
Yeah, they have them. Number 25. Fascinating. But you're right. That'll be a great matchup. One that we saw last year.
Auburn victorious in Houston.
At the Toyota Center.
Yep.
Well, even with the rain outside, it may be a little cool today, but we know that the heat is going to come back because that Alabama heat and humidity can be absolutely brutal, but you don't want to let it affect your home or your family, so keep them comfortable with an affordable Trane cooling system. They've been recognized as America's most trusted brand for 11 consecutive years, and that is why they are our official cooling partner right here at Jocks. Go find a comfort specialist near you today online at Trane.com.
So the news yesterday, a couple of headlines from both Alabama and Auburn camps. Bama names the starting quarterback, Ty Simpson. No big surprise there. Down at Auburn, Malcolm Simmons, legal matters, they have been dismissed, so he's moving forward with practice and a member of the Auburn football team. Yesterday, Derek Nix and Kent Austin, two offensive coaches for the Auburn Tigers, that they met with the media. Derek Nix, first up, let's hear from him. Derek Nix gave us all his thoughts on the first scrimmage of the fall camp for the Auburn Tigers and what he liked, what he didn't like.
I think on the positive side, I thought we competed at a high level. We made flashes. There were flashes of big plays, explosive plays, but the consistency of what we expect and what we want is still a work in progress, and continue to get our guys to gel and understand that every play has a life of its own. We have a great first down and get ourselves into 2nd and 6 or 2nd and 5. We can't have a mishap on that next down on second to get in the 3rd and long.
It was also interesting because one of the names that you and I both have been hearing, Landrum, in regards to really turning a lot of heads down there offensively is Omar Mapson, who was reclassified. He is supposed to be a senior this year at Auburn High School, and he has really done a nice job in fall camp. This is what Derek Nix had to say about Mapson making a strong first impression with the coaches.
To me, he's done a remarkable job so far. He's came in June and been very aggressive, trying to learn, taking extra time to go meet with coaches to learn the scheme. He's worked hard with Coach Dom. Sometimes you blink and you don't realize that this guy is, he should have another year in high school, and I love his attitude and his effort so far.
That was Derek Nix talking to the media yesterday. Also, Kent Austin, quarterback's coach. He had an opportunity to meet with the media, and he was asked about how Auburn's quarterbacks are developing so far this fall.
I think they're benefiting from the fact that we really focused in on what we thought we were going to do well as an offense. We carried that through the offseason, through the spring, through the summer. They got a lot of repetitions on similar concepts. It doesn't necessarily mean that we line up the same way, but conceptually it's the same stuff, right? And I think they've benefited a lot from that. Obviously, we will game plan more specifically, right, for Baylor. But I think our quarterbacks at this stage are handling the offense pretty well. They're making pretty quick decisions, getting the ball out of their hand. We've got good skill, which is helping. Defense is throwing a lot at us, and I think they've adjusted pretty well. Every day is something new, right, that we have to contend with offensively, and that they have to contend with, behind the center. So pretty pleased where they're at right now.
More Kent Austin, he was talking about what traits stand out about Jackson Arnold, who is presumed to be their starting quarterback.
Physically, he's got a really quick release. He's really accurate. He can spot the ball to get the ball completed. He just has, the natural passers just have a knack to throw receivers open, right? And the other thing that Jackson brings is he's a really effective runner. He's a lot faster than you realize, and he's strong. So we'll be able to utilize him in the QB run game and just him extending plays with his athleticism.
Major kudos, and I've said this since Hugh Freeze got back to Auburn. Auburn has made a lot of their coaches available to the media, which is something that you did not see or hear a lot of when Gus Malzahn and Brian Harsin was there. Likewise, a lot of times at Alabama, you only got the coordinators at the beginning, at the end of a season. That was it. And so both Alabama and Auburn's done a really nice job, in my opinion, that it's opened that up. So not only has the media been able to report more in regards to what they see and hear in Tuscaloosa and Auburn, but it gives the fans an opportunity to hear straight from the horse's mouth from the quarterback's coach, Kent Austin at Auburn, and obviously Derek Nix, the OC and running backs coach.
Well, Ken Austin certainly knows in his experience as a college coach, he knows college quarterbacks. Our friends at Stark Exterminators, they know how to protect your home or business, so those stinging, biting, pesky insects don't ruin your day, don't ruin your fall during football season. I was just over at a buddy's house the other day, and he said, hey, tell me again who you use to take care of your home. And I told him it's our friends at Stark Exterminators. He had bugs. He had ladybugs. He had spiders that had made their way inside. He's got a clean house. It's not like he lives in filth, but it's just natural for that to happen this time of year. You can keep your home and your business protected with our friends at Stark Exterminators, family-owned for over 61 years. One of their trained professionals will come out to your home. Their team member will inspect it thoroughly inside and out, address any issues like those spiders or ladybugs or anything else that are coming inside the house, and then any potential issues that might be a hurdle down the road. Call them today for the free home or business pest inspection. It's free. 855-STARK now, or go to starkexterminators.com, and when you do so, always tell them Landrum from Jock sent you.
When we come back on Three-Man Front Live at Social Taco, we'll get into this John Gruden conversation. You just heard Mike Griffith bring up, would Tennessee be interested if something happens to Josh Heupel about John Gruden? He won a big Nevada Supreme Court ruling yesterday. We'll tell you what that's all about and the future of John Gruden. That's next on Three-Man Front. We're live at Social Taco. This is Jock's Three-Man Front. Come on by. The door's officially open at 11, but Pelham Gator and Don Don already in the building. Officer Walt is here controlling the crowd. Always appreciate that.
Yeah, just help out if you see them setting up the team here at Social Taco. If you see them, just as part of the deal, little housekeeping. So if you come in and you're asked to maybe set up a two-top or get things ordered like wrapping silverware, don't be appalled. That just means you're part of the family.
But we're always happy to see Officer Walt.
Yes,
who is here, crowd control.
Yep.
Gets a little crazy at the beginning of the show.
He's locked on Don Don right now.
Yeah, he's making sure Don Don's properly behaving.
He wouldn't even have to move. Officer Walt just stays him right there.
Yes, that'd be perfect. Artec Tractor in Jasper is having a sale on all their fluids and filters from now until the end of September. That is all oil filters and air filters. Also all engine oil and hydraulic oil. This is 15% off all of those items. Locally owned specialists in mowers and tractors. Artec Tractors, who I turned to when I was in the market for a zero turn. I got me a Toro from Artec Tractor. They also have Cub Cadet, Gravely, Bobcat, Spartan, residential to commercial grade, more brands, and a better selection than those big box stores. Tractor brands like Mahindra, Bobcat, everything from large home acreage you need to cut, small homesteads to large farms, hunting plots, knowledgeable sales department to advise your purchase. That's what I did. I called Jeremy and I said, look, this is what I have. I would love for you to be able to point me in the right direction. He did that. And you know what? I have nothing to worry about moving forward because they got an expert service department with years of experience. They can work on all types of mowers and tractors, large selection of heavy used equipment. So go by and see them just north of Jasper on Highway 5. That's artectractor.com. So we heard Mike Griffith mention John Gruden's name just a couple minutes ago. Gruden over the weekend was talking to the University of Georgia. He said, man, he would love to be back and coach it. He would love to be in the SEC. Would love it. Love to do that. His name's always been rumored in years past, potentially at Tennessee, because he was an assistant coach there long ago, maybe a GA. I think that's what it was. His wife was a Tennessee cheerleader in Knoxville, so might have been where they met. But John Gruden wants to coach again, and he said he'd gladly like to be in the Southeastern Conference. And there's one step that moved more towards a positive direction of him potentially returning to coaching, and that happened in the Nevada Supreme Court yesterday. They ruled that former Raiders coach John Gruden cannot be forced to participate in arbitration in his lawsuit with the NFL. The court had previously ruled Gruden could be required to undergo arbitration because he had agreed to be bound by the NFL Constitution as part of his Raiders employment agreement. 4 years ago, Gruden filed a lawsuit against both the NFL and Commissioner Roger Goodell. Gruden has long contended that the NFL deliberately leaked incriminating emails from Gruden that it had uncovered in an investigation, a move that ultimately led to Gruden being fired by the Las Vegas Raiders. The court yesterday in Nevada, the Supreme Court of the state, voted 5-2 to clear the way for Gruden's case to continue against the National Football League. Now, this is what the court said. By its own unambiguous language, the NFL Constitution no longer applies to Gruden. If the NFL Constitution were to bind former employees, the commissioner could essentially pick and choose which disputes to arbitrate. End of the state's comment. Gruden's attorney yesterday, Adam Hosmer-Henner, told ESPN in part, this victory further vindicates Coach Gruden's reputation and helps clear the way to holding the NFL accountable. End of quote. So it begs to differ now. We said yesterday, Landrum, don't think he's ever going to coach in the NFL again.
Right.
But college. Not that he needed this win in the Nevada Supreme Court to coach again in college, but that is kind of now clearing the decks for Gruden if he potentially wants to return.
Well, as an administration, are you comfortable? You know his coaching prowess. I have no doubts that he could have success. I'm not saying winning a national championship, but he could have success. But if you're an administration, because all of the content of those emails, that will all be brought to light again. I assume that John Gruden realizes this. You can go and you can find it right now at your leisure, the content of those from, sharing topless photos of cheerleaders that were shared, what was going on with the Commanders organization, to talking about someone's physical appearance, making a disparaging comment about their name. What else? Made light of homosexuals. Michael Sam, I think he was in there as well. So with all of that and maybe some more stuff that's in these emails, you just have to be prepared as an administration for the backlash in being that first coaching job when Gruden coming back. You bring up Hugh Freeze. There was time, though, in between, and there's been time now in between this, but Hugh Freeze actually went and coached at a college program in between his time at Ole Miss when he was dismissed and now at Auburn. I'm just trying to find comps.
Yeah.
And how that would be viewed. Well, from a fan base perspective, you just want wins. And you're really, I think in a lot of cases, most fans, whether they admit it or not, they're concerned with wins, being relevant, national championships. They view this as a business anyways. So where are the morals?
Correct. And let's not forget, Liberty hired Hugh Freeze and Auburn hired Hugh Freeze.
Yeah.
So it goes to what you just said, and I agree with you 100%. People should be forgiving, and people are. But when it comes to football programs and it's big-time business, if there is a winning football coach out there, they more times than not, they will look the other way if they know they have got somebody that can get them to the promised land. that goes NFL, college, high school, doesn't matter. They will absolutely look the other way. They will forgive you. If you've got a lot of W's next to your name, they're going to give you the benefit of the doubt.
I feel like now it would be easier to make that kind of hire.
No doubt.
Because
10 years ago?
Yeah.
No.
All right, don't run off the road, but the purity, that the way that the college game was perceived, no way that happened.
Which we knew behind the scenes, it was never that pure.
No.
But to the everyday individual walking the streets, they still believed in amateurism. They still believed in people going to the school because they grew up loving wearing crimson or orange and blue. That's not the case anymore. It's whoever's going to pay them the highest.
Now you've got guys that are riding around in Lamborghinis, putting out social media posts of stacks of cash. I think that innocence and, oh, goodness, who is going to lead our children, that has gone to the wayside.
Yep, there's no question about it. So we'll continue to have that conversation. The Courtesy GMC text line is open, 205-834-9450. We will have, a little bit later in the show, a conversation about Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt did not make the top 25 preseason poll, which surprised a lot of people. Robbie Weinstein is going to join the program next hour. He is from Vandy 247. We'll talk to him about how fall camp is going and how Diego Pavia is handling all the limelight in the Music City. In the 12 o'clock hour, we'll get an update on recruiting. Steve Wiltfong, he will join the program as we'll ask his opinion from the On3 Rivals perspective. If Auburn is on the rise and where and how high they can possibly go. So all that straight ahead. We're live, Social Taco, here on this Tuesday on Jocks. 1-800-239-WJOX, the Courtesy GMC text line, 205-834-9450. We will get to your phone calls momentarily if you've got anything you would like to talk about this morning. The AP preseason top 25 that came out yesterday. Auburn basketball, big announcement today. They're going to take on Houston in November in downtown Birmingham at Legacy Arena. Malcolm Simmons cleared. Ty Simpson, the starting quarterback for Alabama. All those things on the table if you'd like to participate in the show.
Well, and we know many of you are sending kids back to school, and that means that your schedule is going to be jam-packed in the afternoon. So don't let that get you down when you're looking for a dinner spot, because Big Whiskey's is going to have you covered. Big Whiskey's is a place for great food of all varieties. They have a full menu ranging from appetizers, salads, burgers, steaks, and much, much more. They also have their bar, which features unique cocktails, including over 120 whiskeys and whiskey on tap. Plus, during football season, of course, they've got plenty of screens for you to catch all the games. So let Big Whiskey's help you out with dinner as your schedule gets more crowded this fall season with the kids going back to school. And give them a visit. Big Whiskey's located in Stadium Trace Village off of Highway 150 near the Hoover Met.
All right, let's go to the phones, 1-800-239-WJOX. Let's talk to Chris. Joins us here on the program. Hey, Chris.
Pat Landrum, Molly, Conrad, and especially you, Pat. What's going on, man? Let me clap it up for you, man. You've been in your bag lately, especially yesterday when you talked about the AP poll and compared to me after all that crap talk that Kirstie Nitty and Ryan Day was spewing out in the media days. How it turns out you got how many was it?
Ten SEC teams were in the top 25. 6 Big Ten teams. 6.
And what about ACC teams?
I think it was 4, if I'm not mistaken. Might be less than that.
I think it was Clemson, Miami, SMU. I think it was just those 3.
Oh, it was just those 2?
Or 3, yeah.
Might as well make it -3. Might as well make it -3. Nobody really cares about that dog.
Yeah, Conrad's right. Yeah, because Notre Dame is not a member of the ACC yet.
Might as well make it -3 because nobody really cares about that dog water conference anyway. And looking at you, man, man. Hey, the kicking point of it all being, you was really spitting a couple weeks back. We was in, I think it was last week. About 3 weeks ago, you talk about Notre Dame being an outlier, and now you're talking about you're really talking ball, Pat. I got to clap it up because I'm like, when you put everything out on Front Street, for some reason we got a lot of folks capping around the college football spectrum about just lying on their backs about what they really have accomplished and what they realize what their standing is compared to what they've done in their conference altogether. So,
Are you there, Chris?
What's your thoughts, Pat? Yeah, I'm saying, what's your thoughts, Pat?
Mainly I think you're not going to hear much from the Big Ten folks. I think they're going to try to let their season speak for themselves.
SEC bias too. Oh yeah, I'm glad you brought that up because too many times I hear the term SEC bias. I'm sorry. What is the NFL? Who leads the NFL the conference draft picks?
Oh, that would be the Southeastern Conference.
Who had the most blue chip recruiting lately, as well as I don't know what All Americans?
That too would be the SEC.
What? So why do we constantly do this song and dance every year and out as if it's just a broken record, trying to say SEC bias or fight the bias for the Big Ten and ACC and all them? When in retrospect,
well, I mean, because the Big Ten's won the 2 last national championships, and so they believe the Southeastern Conference, just like Rhett Lashley says, there's no depth. The teams like Alabama and Georgia, the dynasties are over with. The Big Ten is now taking over.
Depth, but Iowa, the likes of Northwestern, Rutgers couldn't even breathe the same air as I don't know a low tier LSU team. God forbid we mentioned Purdue, and only thing we really give a damn about them is them at Purdue Allen. We want to write term papers. But okay, y'all take care.
All right, thanks, Chris.
Appreciate
the call. Text line is open 205-834-9450.
Yes, I'm going to have to be very careful with some of these texts, as I typically am. Kyle texts into the show, and he says, in the era of NIL and transfer portal, what's your opinion on rivalry games? It seems so many players are primarily out of school because of money, not to love the school, and are likely indifferent to the history of their rivals. Are rivalry games diluted now? I think somewhat. Yes, they are. I think you still had kids that didn't appreciate it. And, for instance, kids in the state of Alabama, they understood the importance of Auburn and Alabama, the Iron Bowl. Kids that went to Auburn that grew up in the state of Georgia, yeah, that was important to them. Now I think the concern, not only you couple in the money with rivalry games, Pat, but the question of buy-in week to week and how the mindset has changed for a lot of these kids that do have that blue Lamborghini sitting in the parking lot, do have a portfolio that would rival or best a lot of hardworking middle-aged men.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think that it's human nature that some of these rivalry games have probably lost their luster because of makeup and a lot of factors that go into it.
I concur.
Bama hater, will you guys please put a Crimson Amber alert out for Mailman? I'm getting concerned. He can only call if Bama's winning natties or winning the SEC.
It's been a minute since we've heard from the Mailman.
Hey, guys. Just trying to get in my Mailman.
That's very similar to Patrick Mahomes and Kermit the Frog, all wrapped into one.
This one says, love the show. I hope Ty Simpson has a great year. Y'all need to check out his brother Graham. He's a sophomore in high school. He's awesome. Thank you, Darren from Tennessee.
Yeah, I believe his brother was at Alabama for a camp over the summer. I can't remember if they gave him an offer or not yet. But
did he roommate with Lane Kiffin's son?
Maybe so.
With Knox?
Maybe so. Yeah, I think they're like a year apart.
Alan asked, did y'all notice in the SEC documentary on Netflix that Peyton Thorne was vaping while walking around campus? Saw that he was vaping looked like a cigar as he and his dad were walking to Toomer's Corner to celebrate, which I guess I should have assumed that they had vape cigars. But, yeah. I didn't have an issue with it.
I've seen players smoking cigarettes in a locker room before. I think it'll be okay.
Coming up next hour, we're live at Social Taco. We're going to get into this controversy that erupted last night over Oklahoma's starting quarterback and his Venmo. Got to be careful, kids. On that memo line on that Venmo. We'll get into that next.
Always put that is for gas.
That's right. Every time.